All right, welcome back to the Coach's Corner Show, brought to you by Beggar's Pizza. Our next guest, one of our great sponsors here, Tom Mulvey, owner of Athletics, Sports, and Orthopedic Physical Therapy. Tom, thanks for coming on board, buddy.
Thanks for having me, Pat.
Thanks for your support as well. 3 locations, Oak Lawn, Orland Park, and Hometown. All right, let's talk a little bit about what you do. Give me some background on athletics, Tom, and your background as a physical therapist.
I went to UIC, Pat, and I studied kinesiology. I went to Northwestern and got my degree in physical therapy. I did a master's in exercise physiology and physical therapy at UIC. I did an MBA at St. Xavier. I opened athletics in 1992, and over this time I have really specialized in doing work orthopedically and with both work injuries, sports injuries, and whatnot. Over time, started to see a lot of young athletes getting hurt, and started to think about what ways, with our background, we could really start to help them and allow them to compete safely.
Yeah. So the main reason you started that program, or what?
So in 1992, when I opened the clinic, over time I started to compile just information about what's out there, preventative training. I coached a lot. In my time coaching, I kind of spearheaded some programs and used them, and over time just developed what we now call athletic sports specific conditioning. 2004, I came in here to the Oak Lawn Ice Arena. The figure skating program contacted me and said, we'd like somebody to work with our figure skaters. They have an excellent program here. They were really ahead of their time to try to initiate this.
Yep.
And we slowly worked with those girls and have expanded it now to where we work with other sports, soccer, basketball,
hockey, whatever, right?
Yes.
And what makes this program different from others, Tom?
You know, the nature of being a physical therapist allows me to really assess movement. There are a lot of programs out there that will bring these kids in and train them with the idea of it being a professional training program. This is what professional athletes do and whatnot. We're realistic. We're not telling parents that our job is to make this young athlete a Division I player.
Right.
Our job is to make this young athlete able to compete and not miss practice and not miss games. We have the ability to assess, different imbalances that they have, or lack of certain abilities in their movement. Some kids just can't run. Some kids can't. They don't have static or dynamic balance. Some kids, and they may be an excellent athlete, but when you start to break down some of their movement patterns, you see that they have inefficiencies that can, if left, result in injury.
Yeah. Well, give me some of the science behind the athletic sports specific program.
There was an article by a person by the name of Leith Griffin that came out, and it really outlined a series of risk factors. One was anatomic. I mean, you have, for instance, a joint that this is a knee.
Yep.
That some joints are abnormal, and it's just the nature of their anatomy. They may bow in, they may bow out. Some people may hyperextend. I mean, these are all things that anatomically are deficient, and yet really not assessed when you put somebody into a training program. Other factors that are like in young women, hormonal. There's a lot of research on whether or not that plays. We know that there are cells within the ligaments of the joint that are affected by high level of hormones, estrogen and progesterone, that can make those ligaments more unstable during periods of activity. Surface-to-surface contact. Shoes are being made much better now, so that these athletes are being able to get better grips on different surfaces. Well, unfortunately, although their skill level may improve with those shoes, it's putting their joints and their bodies at risk.
Yep.
And finally, biomechanical factors, which I think are the most important. We really can't change the anatomy, but what we can change are certain imbalances that occur. Overtraining that, for instance, may make the quadricep so well developed that the opposite muscle group, the hamstrings, just cannot balance them in functional activities.
Yeah.
And taking these young athletes and breaking down their ability to see what is their static balance, what is their dynamic balance, and cueing the things that we have control over to improve. Can they cut? kids aren't taught to cut.
Right.
You know, can they, you know, are they able to balance on one foot? Are they able to land when they jump? When they run? It's incredible to see a high-level athlete that yet, really, you look at them and you say, that kid runs weird,
yeah.
You know? But all of those things, if they're put into a program that continues to feed into their imbalances or their structural deficiencies, can result in an increased likelihood of injury. And I'll give you this fact that over 80,000 people, athletes, usually injure their ACL in the United States alone in a year.
Yeah.
The cost of that is upwards of $1 billion. And that is not even to say what the cost will be for that person to deal with that injury in the years to come when they become older.
Yep.
So, you know, at sport-specific conditioning, what we try to do is really target a program that allows us to say, hey, wait, we're going to do all those other things. We're going to work on speed, agility, endurance, and whatnot. But most importantly, we're going to target some of these inefficiencies and these imbalances so that your young athlete doesn't miss practice and they can really compete in game situations.
Well, folks, jump on the athletics website. George will have that up on the screen for you, or you give him a call. This guy knows what he's doing, very educated, very knowledgeable, and he's doing it for the right reasons, most importantly. So get into a program. If you have some rehabilitation situations you need to get involved in, you know, athletics and Tom can get you going on the right track, that's for sure, right?
Appreciate it, Pat.
All right, well, Tom, thank you very much for jumping on board here.
Thank you very much for having me.
We are going to go to a Southtown Star timeout. When we return, 9 10.